Next, we come to comments from the public for items not already on the agenda. Is there anybody here who'd like to speak for anything that's not already on the agenda? Mr. Newland. And even though we know who you are, you should identify yourself. For
Thank you. Leighton Newland, 230 Birch Avenue. Thank you, Mayor, Council. It's always an honor to appear before you, and I thank you all for your great efforts on behalf of our community. On Saturday, at the Witherspoon Presbyterian Church, we had a meeting to discuss, among other things, the Mary Moss Playground. As you know, the playground is undergoing a redesign, redevelopment, schematic, and for purposes of background, I want to say how important, as you've probably all read in my emails and notes, the Mary Moss Playground is to the Witherspoon-Jackson community, which is now the 20th Historic District in Princeton. It is not unfair for me to label it as sacred ground. Paul Robeson is a native son of Princeton, but I would submit to you that he, nor his home, has the love, the respect, and the grandeur of the Mary Moss Playground. It was erected in the 1940s and was the only place where young African-American children could swim at that time during a Jim Crow Princeton. Not to spend a lot of time on Jim Crow or Jim Crowism, the importance of this playground magnifies the African-American experience, not only in Princeton, but in the history of the United States of America. And if I would just allude to one thing, rather than get into the minutiae and the details of the designs, schematics, and the proposals and the changes that the community, which in well-attended meetings has undergone and asked for, let me zero in on the corner entrance. Now that we have designated the Witherspoon-Jackson community as a historic community, keep in mind that history is regarding streetscape and landscape. And what has been proposed is a third entrance. As grand as a third entrance is, it runs counterclockwise. It takes away the integrity and the continuity of the history of the playground. It has never had a corner entrance. Why not make the two entrances that have always been there the grand entrances? This is important because to even entertain not listening to the community when they have made it crystal clear, and I would also like to interject and thank the mayor for being at the meeting and hearing the comments, Council President Lance Liverman for being at the meeting, listening to the comments, Councilman-elect Tim Quinn for being there, listening to the comments, Wanda Gunning, Planning Board Chair, listening to the comments, and Elizabeth Kim being there and listening to the comments. People in the community do not want the corner entrance. Among other things, even with the traffic calming device, it is dangerous. And that was heard repeatedly by not only a lady who worked with the nursery school, but also a former employee of Princeton who changed the entrance at the Barbara Sigmund Park for the same dangerous reasons. Now, Lance Liverman was there, Mayor Lampert were there, all the people I've mentioned that are community and municipal stakeholders were there, and they heard what I am telling you now. And all the money in the world, I submit to you, should a child get hit by a car going across John Street and or Lytle Street, it is not going to bring a child back. It's dangerous, and I would ask you, just with regard to the corner entrance, to ask the Recreation Department, please, the plea is to bring everyone back to the table, even if the time frame and the timeline have to be pushed back. Our interest, your interest, the Recreation Department's interest is to have, for generations to come, the very best functional, aesthetic quality, safest playground that we can have in a historic community, in a historic town. Nothing is more important than to get this right. The time for contention and arrogance should end, and the community, along with the Recreation Department and its liaison and its subcommittees, should be able to come together as citizens of this town to get this project right. I plead with you with all my heart, with all my soul, being a lifelong Princetonian, and speaking not only for the community, but for the town itself, to help us get this right. Thank you very much for the time. Sorry I went over. Thank you.
That's good. Thank you, and we'll make sure that your comments and the comments we heard from the weekend get to the rec department.
Okay. And we will be sending minutes and an overview of the meeting to each of you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.